I appreciate the discussion you guys are having there, but I just had a couple of comments to add. Um, when John was talking about discerning the Holy Spirit, and people say, "Oh, you just don't understand the Bible because you need to discern the Holy Spirit first." You know, to me, the only way I can figure that you can discern the Holy Spirit is to first believe. You have to first have faith, and then you can understand. So it's kind of, the reverse, the opposite of the way we usually approach things. First you attempt to understand things, and then you accept or believe them. But they want you to believe first, and then you can say, "Oh, okay, now I get it." And the only way I can figure that you can discern the Holy Spirit, as they say, is to completely abandon all reason and logic when it comes to, discussion of the Bible, and just, accept it and just, take whatever you're being told. But of course, that's hard to do because, like we're talking about here, there's so many different versions of the Bible, so which one do you believe? Which translation do you go with? And sometimes a lot of the translations and things aren't, vitally important, but other times they really are, and they can have very different meanings. But that really just underscores the fact of how absurd it is to believe that the creator of the entire universe chose to communicate his message to us through, revealing information to people in the Middle East, 3,500 years ago or 2,000 years ago, and then knowing that it would be passed down via a giant game of telephone, essentially, and then have us kind of try to figure out what's going on. And of course, the other thing is that by saying that you have to be an expert or that you have to study the Bible or the Word, that leaves it in the hands of the church elders or the priests. And that's the way it went for a really long time, especially before the Bible became widely available, before the printing press, or before people really became literate. They relied upon the church leaders to tell them what was in the Bible. And of course, they told them whatever was convenient to control them or to get them to give their money or to keep them in line and what have you. So now that everybody has access to the Bible to read it, whatever version you want to go with, we can all kind of make our own conclusions, and we can have these discussions. But in the end, when we kind of take a look at it, like you were talking about earlier, you read the Gospels horizontally, you can compare them to one another, you can see the contradictions, you can see where the stories don't add up, you can compare them to history, to extra biblical sources. And a really good resource for biblical contradictions is a website called bibviz.com. It's BIBVIZ.com, and it's an interactive program where you can conceptualize and view all these different contradictions in the Bible. It's a really good resource, so I recommend everybody check that out. But anybody else has anything else to say, go on ahead.
There is one thing that I'd like to mention with that site really quickly. Oh, I beat you to it, Dieter. You can go next. So there's something I'd like to mention about that site and other resources that we have on social media, such as there's a group called Biblical Contradictions or Contradictions in the Bible on Facebook. And oftentimes they present things, and this is my stance on it. There are far too many biblical contradictions in the Bible for you to be making up any. And the one thing that I probably hate the most is misinformation. And I've had to go on that site and go on these groups and correct these people so many times because we're dealing with a group of people that if they find one flaw or one mistake that you've made, they dismiss your entire argument. And you have to be very careful because they're basically spreading misinformation in everything that we do, and we can't fall victim to that. So that's the thing that I wanted to address. Just make sure that when you're doing these things, you have the proper information and you're not just making shit up, because that makes us all look bad as a community.
All right, I agree. And this is just a fun thing that I didn't even think of doing until just now. So I pride myself on my ridiculous library in the background. And I've collected quite a few rather old books, including this one, a Bible from 1824. And I am comparing it to this one, a Bible from last year. Every sentence is different. Every single sentence is different. So
yeah, but Dieter, is the message the same?
I don't even know. Some of the important words are different. Like, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Like, like key words that are supposed to describe how things are. They use different adjectives. They use everything different.
But wait, God is omniscient, so he would know that by trying to divinely inspire someone to write his word in a particular language would be a complete and utter failure. I mean, everyone knows that, right?
God's an idiot. Either make one language or make it in a language that we could all understand, like math or something.
But no, there was one language. Remember? You remember the story of the Tower of Babel? There was one language, but then, we screwed that up.
Yeah, we screwed it up by trying to build a mud tower up to heaven. This all makes perfect sense to me. Keep talking.
No, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to a prototype atheist or GE, whoever would like to go first. Preferably the prototype atheist, because some of what GE is going to talk about will tie in, I'm positive, to what I have to talk about.
Yeah, I can take over here. That's just God working in mysterious ways. I mean, he confused all the languages of men so that he could give, his word to people, and be a revelation in one language, and then have the rest of us try to figure out what the hell's going on for the next, 2,000, 3,000 years. It's all part of his personal plan of schadenfreude. He's just up there laughing at us, trying to figure out what the hell's going on.